Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Spotlight. This is episode 11 of our talk show where we feature local event organizers that want to share details about their upcoming events. If you have something that you are planning to do in the near future, if you've announced an event, if you have an art gallery opening, if you have a new restaurant that you would like to promote, whatever it is that you're organizing, we want to hear more about it. So this is everyone's opportunity to step onto the spotlight and join me here so that we can ask questions about what you're up to. And today I'm really excited to bring back to the spotlight a good friend. She has been here a couple of times, but she's planning a very unique dinner, and she's going to make a presentation about, oh my goodness, cuisine from Yucatan. So get ready to share your questions throughout the broadcast. We'll tackle the questions you may have at the end. But for now, let me bring to the stage my dear friend Carmen Porras from Oculto. Carmen, how are you today?
Good. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Did you let me ask you a question? Did you have a hamburger on International Hamburger Day?
Yes, we did.
I know. I saw your answer. You said that your favorite hamburger is the one that you cook at home.
uh yes. We're actually very picky in this house. As you can imagine. I cook most of the meals here, and Claudia helps me in other ways in the kitchen. But yeah, that's how I started smoking ribs and making hamburgers and stuff like that, because it's things that I crave and I love. But I cannot find some decent ones in town, so I have to make them myself.
You know what I loved about the question, because I put a, you saw the question. I put a question on Facebook. What I love about it is that, doing my project, there sometimes I put things and I post things on Facebook and expect people to have a very lively conversation or have a lot of comments. And sometimes I'm fortunate to have that. Sometimes I'm not. But when it comes to food, everybody loves to talk about food and everybody loves to get involved in the conversation. So it is always a pleasure to know about
Thank
your
you.
projects, and particularly because of your specialty, Mexican food. But before we dive into today's topic, how was your anniversary dinner? And congratulations again.
Thank you. Yes, those 3 years at Oculto have really flown by. It was really, really fast from the day we opened during Pride. So our anniversary, we always have it during Vallarta Pride. And we sold the 16 tickets. Thank you.
This
a
is
few people,
fantastic.
a few people that came from Coffee and Headlines, like Michael Salvaggio, yes, and some other people that heard it here or on your live uh, podcast, And we were super happy. The food was amazing. The pairing was great. Everybody really liked it. We're serving some different desserts that go with the heat, so they're served almost straight out of the fridge. And yeah, it was a lot of fun that day. It was a lot of fun.
So tell me something. After 3 years of doing Oculto,
Yes.
what type of signals or comments are the kind of signals or comments that make you feel like, yes, you are on the right track?
Uh, we did not expect this when we first opened, but it's a lot of people make friends through the open to the public dinners. Through the public dinners, people meet other people and they stay friends after that, and that really warms my heart. And also, people that appreciate our style of Mexican cuisine. We try to keep it, on the lower side of fat, and we try to keep it inventive and super yummy all the time. And sometimes a lot of people come and they taste things that they didn't think it was, Mexican food, or that things that they didn't know at all, so or ingredients that they're not familiar with. So it's very, very that's what I really like when people make connections. You know how it is. It's a little bit like your meet and greets.
Well, I will be the first person to confess that for me, one thing is a big meet and greet where, you can waltz around and talk to people. And another thing is sitting down at a
Yeah.
table with only a small number of people and you have no choice but to connect. That terrifies me. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Even though I'm always behind the microphone and all that stuff, I am like, in my personal life, I'm very shy. So, but of course, in Coffee and Headlines, as you know, we just started doing these mini meet and greets. We
Yes.
had our first one, and what you just mentioned, the fact that people make friendships in a
Yes.
small gathering, it is absolutely precious. And maybe I'll become brave enough to go to one of your public uh, dinners
So
one of these
is
days.
the yeah, people when they first arrive, they sit at the lounge area, so the living room kind of thing, and we pass around the little appetizers that I explain each one that they're eating, and also the cocktails are usually very unique and creative. They already start mingling within the living room area. And by the time they go to the communal table and sit over there, they're already kind of chatting or sit next to someone else, and they get to meet a bunch of people. So that really is amazing for us.
That is wonderful. Well, today you have a special surprise for all of us because we're going to talk about food and ingredients from Yucatan. But before we even go there, how is your challenge explaining to people that don't know any better? And this is nobody's fault. I'm not shaming anyone, but when people come to you and say, "Oh, we think that Mexican food is only this," and they're talking about the stuff that we all know, your tus enchiladas, to you know how do you begin to hold someone's hand and open their eyes and their taste buds to all the wonderful cuisine available throughout Mexico?
We actually did serve an enchilada for our third anniversary dinner,
Oh,
which
really?
yeah, it was like a classic enchilada that is the actual peppers with a little bit of uh, it's not a sauce, it's actually the peppers in lard. So you only do the little tortilla in there for a little bit and then you stuff it. So it was a fancy enchilada, but it was the like traditional method from here, from Jalisco.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't have anything against enchiladas. We serve them, but there's enchiladas and enchiladas, no?
Well, I mean,
But no, I get your question totally. So this thing about people not being very familiar with Mexican food and Mexican ingredients started in 2003 when we first opened the La Rayan, and
oh my
people would
God.
would come into the restaurant and sit down and ask us for fajitas and chimichangas and burritos. We're like, no, we're not serving that. We're doing regional Mexican food. This is it. And we had a few people, especially at the beginning, walking out on us, already sitting and having, ordered and served drinks, So they were expecting what they call Mexican food in the States, but mostly Mexican food in the States is misinterpreted. This is over 20 years ago. Right now, there's a more openness about Mexican food and ingredients, but 20 years ago, people did not know a lot of regional Mexican food. So they were expecting Tex-Mex, Southwestern cuisine, and that's another type of cuisine in its own right. But it's
Yes.
not influenced by Mexican food, but it's not Mexican, regional Mexican. So what we did for 17 years at the La Rayan was regional Mexican food. And that started to, the word started getting around, and people that were already into cooking at home and into the food channel or the cooking channel, or buying cookbooks and things like that, taking courses, the foodies, they started seeking us out, and that's how we became popular, because they saw what they appreciated what we were doing with the ingredients, with the flavors, with the techniques that we were so we are so respectful of, and it was easier as the years went by.
There is a restaurant called El Negrito.
Hmm.
It is located in Fluvial. They,
Ah, see.
yes, they prepare Huasteca cuisine.
Yes.
And I have been there and I have enjoyed it very, very much. But I'm wondering if you know, aside from the wonderful job that you guys do at Oculto, do you know of any restaurants in town that are currently doing regional Mexican cuisine?
Um.
Like we had this guy that a chef that had a Yucatan restaurant for a while, and
Yes.
he was a sweet man, and the place was really wonderful. He was located across from the Lázaro Cárdenas Park, but I
Yes.
don't know what happened to him.
Yes. He
Uh,
had some issues and he moved away. Um. He was a good cook. He was a good cook,
yes,
and he was doing things that nobody else was doing in PB. I I'm afraid I cannot tell you if besides El Negrito, I think in Nuevo Vallarta, ¿cómo se llama? Algo Dorado, ¿cómo se llama? Mm,
no es el Dorado, ¿verdad?
across Nuevo Vallarta in the residential area where
Ujú.
there's there
Oh,
there
oh,
is
Valle
like
Dorado, Valle
Valle,
Dorado.
I think in Valle Dorado there's a Oaxacan place, and that's as far as I know. I haven't been, uh, but if we're talking about our region, definitely there are some people that are doing some interesting things that are traditional here. Like for example, pescado zarandeado. There's some wonderful places that make pescado zarandeado.
This is true. Yes.
So local, regional, yes, there are, but from other parts of Mexico, I'm not very familiar. I would be lying to you.
Are you a beer drinker?
Not really.
Okay. I'm going to do a quick shout out before we get into what you're going to present because I just remembered Los Cuentos, Cervecería Los Cuentos, they have their tap room. And what they offer is you get to try their artisanal beers, and they have little bite size. Oh, you have your little towel too. I love it. This is Puerto Vallarta summer. Yes. Anyhow, Los Cuentos Tap Room has amazing Oaxaca chingaderitas to eat.
Okay.
Just little bite things. And that for anybody that likes beer, or I suppose you don't have to drink beer, but they do have a nice selection of things from Oaxaca.
Do they have an alcohol-free beer?
Good question. You know, you're giving me an excuse to go and check them out because I haven't been to Los Cuentos in a while. I'm gonna go. It's in Versalles, not far from here, and I'm gonna go
Let me
check
know.
it out.
Let me know when you're going, and we'll check it out. I might come with you.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. And speaking of a plan, everyone, please know that Carmen put together an amazing little presentation. Are we ready for this? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, Carmen put together a little presentation which is called da da da. A few ingredients from Yucatan State. Everybody, clap. And this is a little something that because this has to do with the fact that you're going to offer a dinner with food from Yucatan, correct?
Yes, we're planning a dinner for the end of June, and all the menu would be dishes, traditional regional dishes from the Yucatan
Oh, yummy.
Peninsula. Yeah, it's particularly the state of Yucatan. Yes.
That sounds absolutely yummy. Well, I'm ready to move through this. Are you ready for me to advance?
Yes, please.
Okay. This is going to be fun. Okay, so you're going to talk for everybody to know. You're going to talk about achiote, chaya leaf. Oh dear,
Stabentun.
staventun, queso de bola, and habanero. I love it. And people are clapping. I love it. Karen just posted a little clap, which I'm going to acknowledge really quickly. Thank you very much, Karen, for clapping. Much appreciated. Okay, should I advance to the next one?
I was reading some of the comments actually.
There's a lot of people that love you very much. I haven't even gotten to the comments yet, but
Okay,
there's a lot of love for you, and there's a lot of love
great.
for
We'll get to those. Okay.
yes. Okay.
So I thought this would be interesting because we hope that we can use some of these ingredients that we can actually get here in Puerto Vallarta, and it's some particular ingredients that are very particular to the Yucatan cuisine. So yes, do the next one.
Okay, hold on just a second. I'm good at advancing my own slides, but this is a new experience for me. Okay, here we go.
Okay, um, so this is a little overview, and it's the text. Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Not easily. Let me see if I can by doing. No, I can't. But
Okay, it's okay.
would you like me to read it?
Yes.
Okay. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Yucatan as a gastronomical region is the fact that relatively few ingredients are needed to prepare a wide variety of dishes. I'm getting hungry already. Whether in a Yucatan family cupboard or the walk in storeroom of a five-star restaurant, you will find certain basic ingredients with which white housewives and great chefs prepare the dishes you will never tire of. One undeniable attraction of this peninsula is its cuisine, a delicious result of the culinary pairing of European and local influences. This combination has resulted in an unparalleled array of colors, flavors, and delicious dishes.
Yes. So right there we have some of the ingredients that I'm going to be talking about. There's some peppers, there's the seeds and the paste, there's the leaf, the cheese, and the flour. So we'll be finding out what this is about next.
Achiote, annatto tree seed and aromatic spices. Recado rojo or achiote paste is a popular blend of spices. It is now strongly associated with Belize and Mexican cuisines, especially the
Okay.
Mexican staples of Yucatan and Campeche. The spice mixture usually includes annatto, Mexican oregano, cumin, clove, cinnamon, black pepper, allspice, garlic, and salt. And I personally have never cooked with it, so I would love to learn
Uh,
more about achiote.
okay. So right there in the pictures on the right hand side, that's the tree from the anato seed, and then on top on the left, that's the actual fruit that it produces, right? So inside, you will find those little seeds that is below, and with those seeds, they make the paste, those little squares.
Oh, wow.
So it's a beautiful tree, and they get to be very big, and they're indigenous to southern Mexico, the Caribbean, and part of South America. And it's a readily mixed spices paste that we usually use for Yucatan food, right?
Uh huh.
Uh, we mainly use it at oculto in our cooking classes for cochinita pibil, which is one of the best known dishes in Yucatan food. And cochinita pibil uses it's the oven that is called pib. So it's a hole in the ground where they use some high temperature resistant stones, and they make
Hmm.
a fire. And when there's the embers really hot, they place the marinated pork wrapped in banana leaves, closed off in a big pan with a lid, and they cover it with more leaves like palm leaves and more banana leaves, and then they put dirt on it, so they seal it in the earth. So
Really?
in a pit, they cook it in a pit, and usually they leave it cooking in there overnight.
You know, there are people here that are familiar with achiote. Suzanne just commented, love achiote, great to add when cooking rice. How would you use achiote at home? Is there like a simple way to use achiote?
It's at home, of course. We teach our students during our cooking classes how to make cochinita pibil on the stove top or on the oven, and it's very easy to use. We usually you dilute it with a in Yucatan they dilute it with a sour orange that is almost impossible to get here,
Uh-huh.
but we use freshly squeezed lime juice and orange juice, and you put it in the blender, and you add some more of these same spices, allspice, garlic, some oregano, black pepper, and you kind of make it stronger, and that's the marinade for the pork.
Oh my
So it's
God.
it's easy to use, and you can use it with pork, with chicken, with shrimp, with fish, in other ways. But it's easy to use for pork. It's not a difficult dish to make.
And this is only the first slide, and I'm going to be so hungry by the time this is over. I love it. Should I
Next,
next?
yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, chaya leaf always has to be pre-cooked to be eaten as it is mildly toxic. ¿Qué hubo? Young chaya leaves and the thick, tender stem tips are cut and blanched as a spinach. It is a tasty vegetable and it is exceptionally high in protein, calcium, iron, and vitamins. In fact, levels of chaya leaf nutrients are twofold to threefold greater than any other land based leafy green vegetables. I don't think I ever heard of this before. Please tell us about it.
Yes, it's a wonderful leaf that is considered quelite. So it's an
Okay. Ah,
I say
quelite.
it's a quelite. Uh, so it's considered a quelite. This means that it's a vegetable herb. So the way to explain this vegetable herb concept is the word quelites. And what I mean to say with vegetable herb is not an aromatic herb. So it's an herb that is eaten as a vegetable, basically.
Oh,
And
wow.
and here on the left, on the top, that's the little flowers the plant produces, and then at the bottom, that's the actual leaf, the shrub, and then on the right is a kind of like an agua fresca or a licuado that you make with the actual leaf. You blanch it, and then you cool it down in an ice bath, and then you put it in the blender with another fruit. It can be pineapple, it can be lime and orange. So it goes well with other fruits too, and it's very very refreshing and very very nutritious.
You know, there are so many green chingaderas in Mexico that I don't even know if a lot of people know about. I mean, I remember growing up, we would eat verdolagas, acelgas, berros. Oh my God, wauzontles.
Yes,
Oh,
those
I would kill for some good wauzontles.
Ooh, we haven't
Ooh.
made them, but they're very good.
Oh. And wauzontles are so much fun to eat because
Yeah.
you peel them and by passing them, well, I don't want to distract from your presentation, but you're making me crave all these wonderful things that I wish more friends from other places in the world were familiar with.
So also another name for chaya is espinaca de monte. So
Okay.
it means the hill spinach.
Oh, okay. Spinach from the hill. I love it.
Spinach from the hills.
And
Yes,
the
and
hills are alive.
what I mean with mildly toxic is when you okay, so there's this whole thing about chaya. When you're about to cut the leaf, you should be asking the plant for permission. It's a tradition in the villages where it grows. You ask the plant for permission to cut that leaf, uh, and apparently that helps the plant to maybe get the sap back out, and it wouldn't be that toxic when you cut it because it does sting your hand. The sap stings your hand, and it's one of those traditions that they have,
That is wonderful.
usos y costumbres, pues.
That is absolutely wonderful.
And I think there are some varieties around here in Jalisco, in Puerto Vallarta in particular. I have one here in my garden.
Wow.
Yes, so hopefully we can get to use that for that dinner that we're gonna have in June.
Excellent.
Okay, next.
Next. Oh, the word Staventun. And it's a liqueur. It is an anise liqueur made in Mexico's Yucatan region from anise seed and fermented honey produced by indigenous honeybees, also known as meliponas, from the nectar of Staventun flowers. Rum is then added to the anise and honey mixture. That sounds yummy.
It's very good. It's one of those misleading liqueurs that is kind of refreshing and very sweet and very aromatic. But because it's fortified with rum, with distilled, distilled liquor from cane, it gets to you. It's not super strong, but if you get drunk with that, you will have a bad hangover. Uh, so one time, when I went to Yucatan to cook with some chefs over there, and we met some traditional cooks,
Uh-huh.
we sat down after we prepared the meal, and they served us this cocktail, very super refreshing. And I'm like, "What is this?" And like, "Oh, it's cocktail." I'm like, yeah, but what is the name? How did you make it? And it's Staventun and naranja agria, so sour orange. I'm like, oh, okay. So when I came back to Puerto Vallarta, I tried it with that mixture of lime and orange juice, and we named it. What did we name it? We named it aluche, and aluche is also a traditional, like a leprechaun, a little gnome from mischievous gnome in the Yucatan.
Yes.
So I called it that aluche, and hopefully we can serve that cocktail when people come for that dinner.
That sounds delicious. Every time I go to the liquor store, I wish they had a section called misleading liqueurs because there are a bunch of things out there that are really yummy, but you're absolutely correct. Too much and you become dysfunctional the following day.
So the flour that it's there is the
Uh-huh.
actual flour that they use also for the liqueur, and there's a whole legend around the flour and the liqueur. So if you look at it, doesn't you cannot see it very well in the label, but it's an old legend before the Europeans came to the Americas, right? Before they came to the Yucatan Peninsula, they were already producing, fermenting honey and the flour.
Wow. That is wonderful. And this is going to be featured only in a cocktail, or are you also going to use it as a cooking ingredient?
Probably in a cocktail. I'm not sure we can use it in a dessert. We have never used it in a dessert. We want to stick to traditional recipes, probably, but in the cocktail for sure.
Excellent.
That cocktail is traditional. So
And it's going to be misleading. I love it.
next.
Next, we have, oh, yummy, queso de bola or Dutch Edam cheese. Legend says, end of the 1800s, beginning of 1900s, a Dutch ship sank off the coast of the peninsula. The castaway cargo included cheese and dairy products, so the shipments remained between the inhabitants of Yucatan as a unique flavor in the region. The shipping companies that arrived in the area were dedicated to exporting the enequen or sisal rope industry to Europe. So the first cheeses were transported illegally after making stops in the United States and Cuba, then delivered at coastal ports in Yucatan. It is now produced in the state of Chiapas, Mexico, And yes, queso de bola is delicious.
So queso de bola, the cheese is great, but on the pictures you see on the top, that's a dessert. And it's
Oh,
kind of like an ice cream cone crepe that they fill with that grated cheese, and they add cajeta to it, or Nutella, or strawberry jam, and it's called a marquesita. And that's very, very popular in Merida in the evenings to go around, and in other towns in Yucatan, and have a marquesita. And it's a great, great dessert that is kind of savory but sweet and crunchy and warm. It's delicious.
oh,
And then
yummy.
at the bottom there's a queso relleno. So that's the round Edam cheese, which is made in Chiapas now, uh, because if it was still use the Dutch cheese, it would be too expensive. So in Chiapas they have great, great dairy products, and it's stuffed with minced meat and capers and olives and spices and things like that, and it's served with a white sauce that is thickened with corn.
Yummy.
Yes, so that's very, very traditional in the Yucatan, queso relleno. So stuffed cheese.
Stuffed cheese. Are you going to have stuffed cheese in your event?
I don't know. I have to talk to Chef Diego and figure it out if
Uh-huh.
we can make it so that it presents well, because otherwise it's just a mess.
Well,
Yeah, so
enchiladas
hopefully,
can be messy too.
sure, but not our enchilada. So I don't want to serve a messy cheese. Maybe we can make it in a smaller version. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It could be
Uh-huh.
something very interesting to serve. Yes.
I am having so much fun reading the comments of everybody that is saying great cocktail. I'm getting hungry, so forth and so on. I love it. Should we
Great.
advance to the next one?
Yes. Next.
Habanero, of course, a very spicy variety of chili pepper. Unripe habaneros are green and they color as they mature. The most common color variants are orange and red, but the fruit may also be white, brown, yellow, green, or purple. The habanero chile comes from the Amazon basin, from which it was spread, reaching Mexico. Today, the largest producer of the habanero pepper is the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Habaneros are an integral part of Yucatecan food, accompanying most dishes either in natural form or puree, salsa, or with light pickled onions. Yum.
Onion minions.
Onions.
Minions.
I love it.
So yes, habanero. So I just like to point out that
Uh-huh.
when we say habanero in Spanish, the H is silent, and the N is a simple N. It's not an ñ. So if you're here in Puerto Vallarta and come across it or ask for a salsa that has habanero, it's an easier way to say, and people will understand you better if you say silent H and a simple N, habanero. Okay, and it's a great, great pepper. I myself don't drink and don't eat spicy food, so I have it sparingly. So, but Regina and Claudia, both we work together at Oculto, my wife and her best friend. So, and we have developed a sauce that is not very traditional, but it's made primarily of habaneros. And I think you've tried it before. It has some pineapple vinegar, and it's a great salsa.
Yes, yes, I have tried it before.
And always with cochinita pibil, we serve it with lightly pickled red onions, and it helps improve the flavor of the pork and cuts the fat out. So it's good to serve together.
Yummy, yummy. And of course, we have the final uh, slide of the presentation that says that you will be announcing a special dinner with all these wonderful ingredients. I am so excited about this, Carmen, because we don't get a chance to explore a lot of these ingredients very frequently here in Puerto Vallarta. I'm almost tempted to ask you where you are getting your ingredients from.
Our ingredients, okay. The ingredients for this dinner, Stabentun, we can get here in some of the liquor stores. We have it already at Oculto. The habanero peppers is easy to get in any of the markets, La Comer or at Vacas in Emiliano Zapata, Mercado del Mar, 5 de Diciembre, California, here in Francisco Villa. It's easy to get habaneros here.
Yeah.
Achiote, it's there's a few makers, and we found out the hard way that some of the ready mixed spices for achiote, they have a bitter taste, so we figured, we tried a few and we decided there's one that doesn't make it bitter, and we can also get it here in Puerto Vallarta, no problem. And they come in smaller boxes like that, like inside there's little bouillon squares, like but achiote squares.
Mhm.
Or you can get in a like a 1 kilo box like that we usually got for La Rayan and that we get for Culto for larger batches. What else? What are the other ingredients? I forgot.
Oh, well,
El queso de bola. I think I've seen it in La Comer, but I have to look at the price and see what
mhm.
sizes they have.
Uh-huh.
And habanero, chaya, Staventun. Yeah, that's it. Am I
Before
missing something?
No, you're not. You're not. Before we look at the comments, and I
Yes,
want to look at the comments in a
yes.
second, let us talk about the survey that we just deployed today. Just if anybody missed Coffee and Headlines this morning, Carmen reached out to me a few days ago and said to me, Paco, can you help me put together a survey so that we can look at new interesting products and services that we might offer? And I jumped at the opportunity because I love surveys, and we made it public this morning. And if you didn't watch, oh my God, let me say something while I clear my throat. Talk about the survey.
So the survey will help us at Oculto, our team, to decide what to do during the summer. As you know, the summer is our off season. Most of our clients come from the States and Canada. And right now, a lot of people are gone. Some of you are here, which we really appreciate. But we want to hear from you and see what you would like us to do with you. So maybe we're pitching to you some specialty cooking classes or cooking classes that are from other areas of the world. Um, Also, maybe some other kinds of secret lunches that we haven't done. We only do dinners, but that kind of thing. And then we're just heading that direction, starting with the Yucatan special dinner. Yes.
Excellent. Well, it'll be a pleasure to keep reminding people to answer the survey, because I think surveys are awesome. A lot of times we complain that people don't come to our things, but asking people what it is that people would like to see is a great way to not only get clarity on that issue, but also to find new people that might be interested in what we're doing. Let us take a look at some of the comments. And I see a lot of familiar friends and faces. Thank you so much for joining us. Sherry says, hi, Carmen. Thank you for coming to be with us. I love it. Let's see. Luisa says, saludos de Guadalajara. Carmelita en familia. Let's see what else we have. The original enchiladas are bueno. I don't think there is a bad enchilada, but I think it is wonderful to try how they are made in different parts of the country.
There's that one, Michael Salvaggio.
Yes, he was at the dinner the other night, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Super nice guy. He was super sweet. He met a bunch of people. And I ran into him yesterday morning during my dog walk.
I love it. I love it. Paula says, my goal is to be a better Mexican cook. I think that is a wonderful goal. And Paula, Carmen answered that one. If when you find yourself in Puerto Vallarta next, I know that a lot of people from Coffee and Headlines, or at least a few, have participated in the cooking classes. Uh,
Yes.
let's see. Betsy Ann says, I live up the street from that Yucatan restaurant and used to eat there frequently. Sad that he left. He also allowed me to bring my dog inside. He was the nicest man, very soft spoken, and he had that Yucatecan accent
Yes, he did.
that was so endearing. I forget his name right now, um, but he was absolutely fun. Let's see. Let's see. Joe says, love this presentation. Thank you very much for that, Joe. For me, it is a pleasure to have Carmen on board because what Carmen and Claudia have created is such a great project. We looked at this earlier. Suzanne, I'm envious of you because you know how to use achiote and I don't. But I will use achiote this week in my cooking. So
I've never
there.
used it in rice.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
We should try that. Queso looks delicious, says Sherry. Um, and Paula and I agree on this. Love messy cheese. So maybe even if the queso relleno is messy,
Okay.
you know,
Okay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I love it. Albert says, I'm feeling the need to go and make some salsa right now. Seriously. I was a guest at Albert's goodbye dinner, and that was one of the best occulto nights I have ever had. That was a
That was a
fun,
fun night. That was a
it
fun
was
night.
a fun event. Suzanne thinks you have the best laugh.
Paco knows why.
I know why, and I'm not going to talk about that. Let's see. Here's a good question. Do you know what date the dinner will be? Says Michael.
Hopefully, Michael, that dinner in June will be around we don't have a set date yet. I have to look at the calendar, but let me see. Hopefully we could do it by the 28th or 29th of June. Hopefully you were in Puerto Vallarta and you can bring some friends.
There you go. There you go. Albert says, I did the cooking class. It was fantastic. Um, Great presentation from a bunch of people. Very informative. Thank you, guys. I was asking you, Carmen, earlier, where do you get your signals that you're on the right track? I really appreciate when everyone says great presentation or we like this because it also helps me create better connections for everyone.
Yeah,
Um,
and this gives us a pointer to do another state and other ingredients.
oh my gosh, sign me up. Sign me up. Anytime you want to talk about different food from different places of Mexico, I am going to be the biggest
Oh
fan.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's absolutely do it.
That
Um,
presentation, it took me about 40 minutes to make, so I will be super happy to make more, and I had a lot of fun looking through things in internet and looking for the photos and everything, and it was great, and I love doing that.
Are we missing anything today, Carmen? I think we've had a great presentation. I am so hungry now, and I'm looking forward to finding out about your Yucatan date. Have we forgotten to talk about anything today?
I don't think so. Well, I would say stay hydrated. Don't walk your dogs during the peak of the heat. That's between 11 and 5 p.m. Wait until the sun goes out a little bit, or go earlier in the morning. Their little paws, get burnt, and they also can get a heat stroke. And take care of yourselves because the heat is coming super, super strong this year, and we haven't been affected here like we have in other areas of Mexico. And take care of yourself. Stay inside. Turn on your AC on. And that's all I have to say.
I would add to that, stay away from misleading liqueurs.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
stick to water and electrolytes.
I hear you. Well, we are showing the I cannot even think anymore. I'm so hungry. We're showing the website for the survey, but I want to invite everyone to connect with Carmen either through the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Oculto Vallarta, or also connect through the website for the restaurant, ocultopuertovallarta.com. And you know,
Can you post that last presentation? The thank you the thank you thing.
how could I say no to you? There it is. Yeah, this has all the information. It has your email address
And the
also,
WhatsApp.
elarrayanpvr@gmail.com, and a WhatsApp number 322-779-9165. You know, Carmen, I can have you here as many times as you want, but
Yay!
in all fairness, no, seriously, you know,
I love it. I love it.
It is a pleasure that you have been here. Michael Bufford has been here. I can only hope that other restaurant owners will come and tell us about what they're doing, not to keep you away from here, but because we have so many things in Puerto Vallarta, so many options of food. But hey, as long as anybody else is not knocking on the door, Carmen, you are my friend. I have admired what you do for years.
Thank you.
Are always welcome to come back to the spot.
All we do in Oculto and all the yummy things that you taste in Oculto come from our great passion that we have for Mexico, Mexican culture, our Mexican ingredients and cuisine and techniques. And I'm glad it comes through, and we were going to keep doing that as long as we can.
Excellent. Carmen, muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much
for laughing with me.
You.
Thank you for...
Thank you.
I will see you soon.
Gracias.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was the spotlight for today. Again, I want to thank you all for joining us today, for your questions. I want to thank you for spreading the word about the spotlight. Again, this is a little project that is taking a while to catch on, but I very much appreciate that many of you keep coming back week after week to watch. Hopefully, as we move forward, we will continue to attract more and fascinating guests to tell us what they're up to. This morning, we were talking about tequila tastings at the Spotlight, and hopefully, I'm not at the Spotlight, at Coffee and Headlines, and hopefully we'll hear from a local tequila tasting guy that is doing great things. And that's all I have to share with you today. So thank you very much for joining us. And I will hopefully see you again sometime in the near future. Have a great afternoon.